Hi, it's Kim from Expressions of the Universe with your April forecast, stars and cards. And it's a brand new month, brand new energy. I will be time stamping all of this. I have your crystal of the month, your cards, the astrology. Let's dive in. Try and keep this to a reasonable amount of time. I did write a companion blog, and I did post some of the slides that I'll be using in today's video in the blog so that it makes it easier. I also posted a couple of really helpful resource links for all of you so that you can find your own moon sign if you don't know what that is. It'll help you to find out, more about your chart. I also posted a link on my video of how to pull your own chart, the ephemeris or planetary calendar for 2023 so that you can track the moon signs. And there might be something else, but good info in there. Oh, I think there's a link to a video that I made about planetary returns because we're tracking our emotions with the moon for the next 2 months, as I mentioned in the last video, because Mars is in Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon, and there could be a lot of emotional ups and downs. This month of April, although there are not a ton of aspects, what we have will pack a punch. In good ways. We should be feeling more energetic. We should be feeling more excited, more alive, more creative, wanting to move ourselves, move our bodies, move forward. Brand new energy came in March. But we start the month off with Mercury moving into Taurus. Then we have a full moon in Libra. Then Venus will move into Gemini. And the big kicker at the end of the month, right as the sun is moving into Taurus, we have what is called a black moon, which is a second new moon in any particular sign. This would be Aries, because we had the Aries new moon a few weeks ago at 0 degrees of Aries. We're finishing up that cycle with another new moon in Aries, but it's at 29 degrees. That's the anaretic degree where all the energy of Aries comes together, and it's fiery, it's creative, it's a little maybe over the top, argumentative. It's really powerful energy. Also aspects of the moon and Mercury. Squaring Pluto this month looks a little volatile. Our words could be super sharp. We could be explosive. Literally, I hope not. So let's dive in. Let's pull up the slide. Oh, you know what? Before I pull up the slides, let me do my crystal for the month of Aries. So when I think of Aries, really maybe, is it any fire sign? No, it's mainly Aries. I think of carnelian, and this is a really fantastic little carnelian bowl that my niece gave me. But I love carnelian. It's a beautiful, fiery, yet grounding type of stone. It's great for Aries because it helps us to pull out of the winter if you're in the northern hemisphere, and it helps us to get moving. It also will help you lose weight if you're carrying carnelian, because you want to move your body more when you're using it. However, with all of that fire energy, maybe this isn't always the best stone. So I did pull out some tiger iron, which is fire, but it's a little more grounding. And then I also have my Mulligano jasper. So jaspers and agates, I think this is tree agate. I pulled that out. So jaspers and agates are super grounding. So if you find yourself full of anxiety, full of fears, really jumping out of your skin, maybe there's just too much energy surging, the tiger iron could definitely help. These are also protective, and they help us to ground ourselves when you need that boost of energy. If you're feeling lazy and sluggish, then I would go with the carnelian. The Mulligano is really great because I have my little note card. It heals and activates all chakras. And this is kind of a rare type of stone. Don't mind my mess of my nails. It is rare. So that's why I'm giving you alternatives that are easily accessible, like the tree agate and the tiger iron. But Mulligano protects from negativity, promotes teamwork, balances physical and emotional bodies with the ethereal, which is definitely the theme this month with the full moon in Aries. Well, it's in Libra, but it's on the Libra Aries axis. And the theme of Mulligano says, I have supreme protection from all things negative, and I am full of life and vitality. This is not an easy stone to carry around with you, even if you made a necklace, it's pretty heavy and doesn't fit in the pocket so easily. So you could meditate with this to bring in more balance, which is Libra symbol. And then of course, I do have some moonstone. Oh, I didn't put any of my jewelry on except for some agate earrings and Dalmatian stone for some grounding and protection. All right, I'm going to pull up the slide, and I'll share my screen with all of you. And that's not what I wanted. Sorry about that. Hopefully I'll remember what I wanted to talk about. Okay, April highlights the stars and cards for all zodiac signs. And I picked this photo because it symbolizes peonies, which typically don't bloom until May here, but it really was just such a beautiful symbol of the spring that is emerging. Almost all trees around here are in full bloom. The flowering trees kind of made me sad yesterday driving through the ton, thinking that, you know, we just have this one short window of time where everything is in bloom, you know, like the magnolias and the cherry blossoms, and it goes so quickly. It just, I wait all year for that. I did get to drive past my most favorite magnolia. It is a ginormous, it has to be over 100 years old, magnolia. It is in full bloom, amazing. So that was really nice to be able to see it. I wait for that every year, and it's just a short window, and then storms usually come in and take all of those blossoms off of the trees, which I'll have to check because we had tornadoes last night and it was pretty scary. So there may be no blossoms left. All right, the highlights, which I posted earlier. See, we don't have a lot. If you remember back in March, I could barely fit everything on the page. And so we do not have a lot of really important aspects. These days are filled in with a lot of moon aspects, a lot of lunar aspects. So that would be emotional. And that's one of the reasons why in the blog I was posting links where you could find your own moon and you can get the planetary calendars so that you can track the daily changes in the moon and see how you feel. If you go back to the last video that I had, I talked about making a lunar or moon journal for the next 2 months. See what your moon is. For example, my moon is in Leo. We're currently in a Leo moon, so I'm feeling pretty fantastic. I usually always do when I'm having a lunar return. That is fire energy, so I feel creative, I feel outgoing when the moon is in Leo. Now, you know, if you have a moon in an air sign, you could get chattier when the moon is in a fellow air sign. If you have an earth type of moon, you could become lazier, you could become more grounded or more focused. And water moons are typically emotional. So it would be good if you could know what sign the moon is in, know what your own moon sign is, and to track it for the next 60 days to see how the different moons affect you personally, or even the people around you. All right, so we'll start the month off with Mercury moving into Taurus. Mercury is the messenger. He rules our thoughts, our communication, the way we learn, the way we speak. But he's also known as the merchant, moving into the sign of Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. And it is about money. It is about tangible material things, but it's also about ethereal things and the beauty of the senses. So with Mercury moving into Taurus, I would definitely say we may need to watch our money. Definitely when the sun moves into Taurus later in the month, April 20th, because we'll be having an eclipse and Mercury will be going retrograde in Taurus. Yeah, I said it, Mercury retrograde. So during this time, we're really going to have to keep our purse strings very tight, unless it is an absolute needed expenditure. We'll have to watch our investments and, you know, move money or invest in money or take money out of the bank and put it somewhere secure. We need to develop a sense of safety and security during this time. And so you would have to figure out what that means to you. We then have it's April 5th into April 6th. So it depends on where you live. Where I live, the full moon in Libra at 16 degrees comes in at 12:34 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on April 6th. But if you live, say, in Los Angeles or even 1 hour Central Time Zone, Mountain Time Zone, or Pacific, you're looking at the full moon just before midnight on April 5th. Now, if you're on the other side of the pond in UK or Europe, it's on April 6th, and that will be coming in the morning time, probably before the sun rises. So I would recommend for all of us, if your skies are clear, the best viewing time for this full moon will be on the evening of April 5th, no matter where you are. And I'll get into, when we look at the chart, I'll get into the energy that I'm picking up for that. April 11th, Venus moves into Gemini. So what's interesting, Venus is moving into a Mercury ruled sign of Gemini, while Mercury just moved into a Venus ruling sign of Taurus. That's called mutual reception. So they're speaking to each other the entire time. Now, Venus could be super flirty in Gemini, a little, you know, two-minded. I would say, can't think of the word that I'm looking for, ambivalent, flirty, but not serious, maybe a little talkative, talking about the things that you love with someone, you know, that you find exciting and stimulating. I love this energy because it is creative. Our minds open up, our hearts open up at the same time, and they connect. So I think that that's going to be beautiful energy. April 20th, the new moon in Aries at 29 degrees. And it'll be the same since it is 12:13 a.m. Eastern Standard. So it'll be April 19th before midnight for Central Mountain Pacific, and it will be in the wee hours of the morning for the UK and Europe. This is the second new moon in Aries, and it's referred to as a black moon, similar to when you have two full moons in a month and they call it a blue moon, like once in a blue moon. That's for a full moon. The black moon is for a new moon. Simultaneously, we are having something pretty fantastic. It's really rare. It's a solar hybrid eclipse with the black moon. It's rare because this hybrid eclipse, usually you have a total eclipse, an annular eclipse. If it's lunar, it's penumbral. I can never say that. Oh, in my slide, Kim, oh no. Oh, well, I'm out of alignment here. I thought I had it all lined up. Anyway, what happens here, it begins as an annular eclipse, and then it transforms into a total solar eclipse. I don't believe we can see it here in the United States where I am. And I forgot to put a slide in to show you where it is hitting. And I would assume that that would be pretty important, but I'll be back with more information on that. I just wanted to post this here. I'm sure I will make a video since we're coming into Taurus season. I'll do another video at that time. And then we have Mercury going retrograde right in the beams of this eclipse. So this is pretty powerful. Want you to pay attention as the shadow period begins on April 7th at 5 degrees of Taurus, and it will run through 15 degrees of Taurus. So anyone, which includes me, because I have a 7-degree Taurus rising, anyone between 5 and 15 of Taurus, Aquarius, Leo, and Scorpio will be mostly affected, as will all of the earth signs, Capricorn and Virgo, because Taurus is an earth sign. Those other signs, Taurus is a fixed sign, so it will be squaring Aquarius and Leo, which are also fixed signs, and it will be opposing Scorpio, which is a fixed sign. And then you can give it 3 degrees on either side. So you can say anyone between 2 degrees of Taurus and the other fixed signs and earth signs and 17 degrees. You're going to feel this the most. Mercury will turn direct at 5 degrees on May 15th. And then the post shadow ends on June 1st. At 15 degrees Taurus, world point 15 degrees. Definitely having to watch our money, watch what we're spending things on, our resources, but it also really plays a huge role in what is it that you value. Taurus is about self-worth and the things that we value in the world and in ourselves. This is going to be a really wonderful time for us to take a step back and reevaluate. Remember, retrograde is anything with the prefix re, R-E. Reevaluate our values, maybe our finances, our money, our material things. Where are we placing our values? And huge reevaluation on the way we view ourselves and our self-worth. That's just going to be extremely powerful for all of us, but particularly for the signs that I spoke about. And then April 22nd is Earth Day. So I'm hoping you'll get outside, no matter where you are in the world. The weather should still be fairly decent. Take your shoes off, get your feet in the dirt, ground yourself, plant something, prepare the earth, plant a tree, just lay down in the grass and enjoy. Go on a picnic. That'll be pretty wonderful. Okay. The health highlights. So April, we start off with Aries and Libra axis. So those are the opposing forces. Rules the head, kidneys, hormones, adrenals, the blood pressure, the eyes. There is caution to temper tantrum, migraines, stroke, hyperactivity, and blood flow surges. Mars in Cancer could cause stomach issues as well as the eyes. And fluid retention, I'm hearing now. Okay. Later in the month, when the sun moves into Taurus, we're on the Taurus-Scorpio axis, similar to the north and south nodes. And that rules the ear, nose, and throat, the neck, the genitalia, and the bowels. So you could find obstructions in these areas. You could find infection in these areas, allergies, thyroid issues, teeth pain, from your sinuses, migraines, and susceptibility to STDs, sexually transmitted diseases. The one thing I'm looking at, Pluto squaring the moon and then Mercury at different points in time in the month indicates poisoning. Therefore, there's a caution in overdoing medications, food, alcohol. Be aware of your drinking water sources, your cooking water sources, and what you are giving your animals, not only yourself. And we've seen an upsurge in this time and time again over the last few months. There's also, let me move on to the other slides. I wanted to point out there are malefic signs in all the water signs as well. Malefic signs being Saturn and Mars, both malefics, and the South Node are all in water signs making a trine. That's also an indication of stagnation of water, water poisoning. I'm just not liking the feel of that, so you want to be cautious. And then I have your little horoscopes here for the month. And I did post this in the blog so that you could read these. And I know I printed them out and I forgot to bring them here because I wanted to read that as I pull the cards. So I'm going to pause you for a moment. I don't know where the recording is. I don't want to stop the video, stop the share. No, I can't figure out what I am doing. Oh my goodness, sorry. I am apologizing. I guess I just am not in my right mind. All right, so I grabbed the printout of this because I want to read the horoscopes. When I pull your cards, it'll be more cohesive. I also put a copy of this in the blog because you'll notice that I mention in the horoscopes the house matters that are affected for each sign. Now, of course, if you have your own chart, you know your chart, it would be helpful to know what areas are being affected. For example, I am a Gemini sun, and this speaks of 7th house matters, right? That's because looking at the charts for the full moon and the eclipse coming up, that's where Gemini, the sign of Gemini, will fall. However, my Gemini is in the second house. So, for example, Aries says fifth house. I'm going to have to back up. So Aries is in the fifth house of the chart. You'll see it's on the cusp of the fifth house. However, I have Aries in the 12th house because I am a Taurus rising. So and this is really, it's right on the cusp of the fifth house and the 10th, 11th. However, for me, it's 12th and 6th house personally. So you can listen to both. The horoscope is correct. However, you can make it more personal by knowing your own chart. So that's why I have this up here. And for you to be able to, you can pause your screen so that you can see what these are. But that's why I did the companion blog. So you could go to that and actually be able to take a look at that side by side with your own chart. And I posted those links so that you can pull your own chart. All right, so this full moon in Libra, and I didn't draw any arrows or lines in here. I have it set for 12:34 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for Philadelphia. That's the closest major city to me. My allergies are, I can't breathe. So I apologize. It's on the cusp of the fifth house and 4th, 5th, 10th, 11th. So what this speaks to me is the choice between home and work life, our pleasure, entertainment, our friends versus our obligations at home. Now, Jupiter is conjunct, as is Chiron with the sun here. The moon is conjunct the midheaven. What is going on in the outer world? So that's pretty important because this full moon in Libra at 16 degrees speaks about balance. It speaks about harmony, material issues in the outer world of things that are, bringing peace, bringing justice into places in the outer world. So this is extremely potent. And then also, too, shining the light on the place that's most important, which could be the home. Now, with it conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer, in the sign of Aries, which is the self, the I am, we could have the opportunity to heal parts of ourselves. And when I spoke about the self-worth piece, this plays into that. And I'm picking up with, even though Neptune is pretty far away from Chiron and the moon, it's still occupying this 4th house. We may not be fully aware of what some of the wounds within ourselves are and the damage that it does. And maybe this full moon will allow us to see that and allow that to go. Now, Jupiter is also conjuncting this. Jupiter is a benefic planet, but he deals out equal amounts of ills. Ills and wills is what I was thinking. Blessings and ills. So we can look at Jupiter in so many different ways. Jupiter makes things bigger. It's indulgent. It's exciting. In Aries, it's risk-taking. However, I would really be cautious because this could be a little explosive in the fact that we allow our tempers to get the better of us during this emotional, mental full moon. Full moons are for letting things go. So we could be allowing some grievances to be tossed to the wayside. bring more peace and balance into our lives on this full moon. The one other aspect that I'm looking at too is Mercury North Node Uranus making a square to the newly entered Pluto into Aquarius at 0 degrees. This could be verbally volatile. People, just mean people, mean bullies. With it being in the second house, it could be directly related to your work and your money, where you get your money from. Venus is here as well in the 6th house. So I do feel like that there could be a work financial relationship. I would be really cautious about what we all say to each other. Be mindful of what comes out of our mouths. Be also open to the fact that not everybody's going to see our point of view and the way that we see things. On a global scale, with this square happening, I would expect, because of Uranus being here, even though it is, you know, a wide orb, which is meaning that the distance between them is fairly wide, but this would be occurring sometime in the month of April. We're going to hear something outrageous, unexpected, could bring a lot of chaos around us, especially with Venus being in the 6th house of the people. It could be definitely over money matters with this 2nd house in Aquarius, but there's new innovative thinking. There's a little bit of a tug of war in some fixed rigidity between keeping things the way they are, money-wise, financial-wise, values-wise, versus opening up to something brand new. So just pay attention to the headlines, because I think things are going to be a little crazy and stimulating for this month. You'll see these blue lines, the trine in water from South Node in Scorpio to Saturn in Pisces, back up again to Mars in Cancer. This is where the poisoning, the stagnation of water, something about water again, we'll be hearing in the news. There is what is called a yod, finger of God, occurring, pointing from the moon to the ascendant in Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter, pointing right down to this Uranus in Taurus. And so it's like the handle of the hammer, Thor's hammer, is Uranus. And what is it hitting? Is it hitting our emotions, or is it hitting how we show up in the world, the risks that we're willing to take in the world? I'm really thinking like we need to slow our roll and be observant most of all. And yeah, like some of us just are so full of energy. We want to get out there and hit the ground running. And I'm thinking we got to slow our roll and just kind of ease into this spring season a little bit. I think that's all I have. Is that all I have? Mars being in the 7th house of our relationships, partnerships, open enemies. It is making an inconjunct to Pluto. So I worry about war. I worry about things globally happening out in the world, and definitely affecting the monetary systems, the economies in the world. So I think I'll leave that at that. And then we have the solar hybrid eclipse later in the month when the sun is just getting ready to move into Taurus, but not quite yet, because here we have the new moon in Aries and the sun is in Aries at the final degree, almost at the final minute. There's only 9 minutes left of Aries season at this point, and it is bringing a huge amount of illumination to fifth house matters, our pleasure, children, our creativity, our speculations. What are we doing moving forward? Are we beginning something new? Is this the time to start beginning something new? Jupiter is still conjuncting this. And so it does make me a little nervous. Now, Mercury has gotten to the 15th degree, which it's about to start retrograde the day after this. So, you know, it's within 15 degrees of Pluto, and it will be moving backwards. So that's square, even though it's a very wide orb, a very large distance between those two planets. Negotiations, still talking about events that we hear out in the world, unexpected things. And remember, this is going to be holding until June 1st. So this is a pretty long transit. But it's a great time for us to reevaluate everything about ourselves, our self-worth, our values, our wounds within ourselves. If I just take this whole chunk of the chart, our homes and family life and what it means to us in the outer world. Meanwhile, Venus in Gemini at this point, the people have a lot to say, and monetary systems going two different ways. I think that this could be also the collapse of several other banks. We have been seeing bailouts similar to back in 2007, 2008. Like I mentioned in last month, has the world not learned anything? We're seeing protests all over the world of people standing up for themselves. That's this Pluto in Aquarius, in France, in Germany, in Brazil, in the United States, in Canada, where government regimes are trying to take things away and really change for the worse on a humanitarian level what's going on, and people are standing up for themselves and protesting. We're going to see more of that. You know, we still have South Node trining Saturn at this point, and the orb to Mars is wide, but it is still there. If you're just looking at a sign-based placement, what else am I saying? This is just huge illumination on things. It's still, there is a lot of things that are underground, undercover, not emerging yet, but you know, and we have Neptune in Pisces here, although not making really any aspects to this Aries and Taurus per se. There is still a veil of illusion or delusion over areas in our lives, our pleasure, our homes. There's going to be a big effect on that. And I want to point out, as the months roll on, Saturn approaches Neptune. That's a little scary for me, but that's a ways away, so I'm not even going to bring that up. And I think that's the end of my slideshow. I'm going to move into the cards in the horoscopes. For each zodiac sign. I did already shuffle and cut these to save time. I'm using the Colette Baron Reed, the Enchanted Map deck, and Colette Baron Reed, Wisdom of the Avalon. I did want to use the new deck that I used last month, but I just don't know that deck yet. And I didn't want to be reading from the book. I wanted to really be able to tap into these on an intuitive level and give you what I'm picking up and put it together with your horoscope. And I feel like if I don't know the deck and I have to read from the book, it's not coming from within me. So this is what I'm going with. All right. You want to pay attention to your sun sign, your rising sign, your moon sign, any place where you have a stellium or a cluster of planets. That's why it's helpful to know your chart. And so, you know, you could potentially get 3, 4, maybe 5 different cards and different horoscopes, different areas of your life that you're going to be looking at. Okay, Aries. I'm going to start with Aries. It's your season. Happy birthday to the Aries. We're looking at 5th house matters. And so with those 5th house matters, it's about creativity, recreation, procreation, entertainment, pleasure, romance, children, play, your inner child. This is saying we're in an emotional riptide. And after you look at the charts, right? You've got Chiron, Jupiter, the sun, the moon. It's an emotional riptide for the Aries. Don't take your mood swings out on other people. Ride the waves and go with the flow. And we have, and I didn't even look at these cards yet. I shuffled and cut them and placed them to the side. It's birth, rebirth, which is perfect because that's what Aries season really is all about. Birth and rebirth. So new beginnings for the Aries. And then we have coming apart. And this really speaks about, well, yes, falling apart a little bit. However, think about the sun conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer. This is about really getting to the bottom of the things that have hurt you, wounded you. You know, this Chiron comes from past life wounds that we bring into this life. Some of you, I know a lot of you have Chiron and Aries. I've been doing readings for you for several years. We still have 3 more years of that. But the coming apart is so that you can come back together in a rebirth, so to speak. So yes, the emotional riptide, go through the emotions, allow yourself to feel those emotions so that you can put yourself back together again. All right, so Taurus, we have 6th house matters, and that's about self-improvement, service to other people, employment, work, routines, your daily nutrition, your day-to-day, the details. It's also our animals. Small animals, big animals are in the 12th house. So with the 6th house matters, your day-to-day, it says push past comfort zones with the added boost of energy and vitality coming to you this month. It's time to enjoy your life. You may not feel that until the 3rd week of April. All right, so we have, risk. I don't know about this because with Mercury going retrograde in Taurus, I'm cautioning against taking risks, but I guess it depends on the risk that you're going to take and the timing that you'll place upon that. Taurus, you're going to have to think about this for yourself. Now, Mercury is moving into Taurus right before the full moon. So it's like, do you take a risk and speak up for yourself? I kind of really feel like Taurus needs to slow their roll a little bit and wait. And this does say movement. So I'm trying to put it in the perspective of myself being a Taurus rising. I don't want to take any risks. Well, I guess I have, backing away from a lot of my obligations so that I can move forward. So yeah, I think if I look at it from that point of view, maybe taking a risk on, something that you're fearing. This could be jumping into something or walking away from something, but either way, it projects you forward and there is movement. And I think that does come in more towards the end of the month versus the beginning of the month. Gemini, 7th house matters. So that's partnerships, marriages, one-on-one relationships, alliances, conflicts with others, legal matters. It is also open or known enemies. So we have the eagle. This is saying keep your eyes open, pay attention. This is an observant type of card. Now, this is a deep spiritual angelic connection to another realm, getting messages from. And so when it comes to the 7th house matters, you're going to want to pay attention to your intuition and the signs that show up for you. Intention. I love this, and it is Master card number 22. Setting the intentions with wisdom, the owl, the moon, the egg. Setting intentions for new beginnings, but also following your intuition. I keep wanting to put them like that. All right, Cancer. So we have 8th house matters, which is probably one of the most difficult houses. It's renewal, sex, death, rebirth, transformation, deeply felt things that we keep hidden from others. The 8th house really talks about things that we can't control. Also, it's peak experiences, depth interaction with others, growth and change. It's also other people's money. There's no rest for the Cancers, and you're being pulled in so many directions. So it's really important for you to focus on what is important and productive. Do not allow yourselves to get overwhelmed by too many demands coming at you in all different directions. And this is the mystery card. The mystery speaks about not knowing how something is going to turn out, how it's going to show up, and just going with that flow of the not knowing and being pleasantly surprised when things show up in an unexpected way. Ooh, goblins. Do not let your thoughts, your emotions get the better of you. Do not let being overwhelmed get the better of you. When goblins show up, so this, I'm automatically picking up like worrying so much, overly worrying about not knowing. And the goblins, that's our shadow side. It feeds off of our fears and our negative self-talk and just, anything of a lower vibration. So I want to place caution on the Cancers to try and keep your vibe as high as possible, surrendering, going with the flow, limiting what you are saying yes to. Leos, 9th house matters. So for Leos, searching for the meaning of life, higher education, mind expansion, philosophy expansion, changing your beliefs. This is also religious or spiritual. It is travel, it is journeys, it's taking a risk, it's doing something exciting that you would never do. And for Leos, you're at the beginning of 2-year transformation to move upward. It's time to let go of any limiting thoughts, change your beliefs, change being stuck in, this is how it is, being stuck in a story. because that could be keeping you in the basement of life and not allowing you to move up and out. Wealth. So this 2-year transformation will pay off for the Leos. It's being kicked off in this season. And wealth, there's a big highlight, I would think, on like, how am I making my money? Where's it coming from? What's my safety, security net? This is about taking stock of all of that. And flying. So when you get yourselves out of the basement of your negative thoughts, your negative self-talk, you're flying high, you're flying free. And this is really about like a co-creative partnership with spirit and a higher way of feeling and a higher way of being. Little Virgos, little Virgins, 10th house matters. So this is about achievements in the world, what you're known for in the outer world, authorities, your public life, recognition. This could be career or your vocation. But, you know, even if you don't have, say, a career outside the home, it's still what you're known for in the outer world and how you show up in that outer world. So, are you trudging through life? Keep moving. As the month ends, you'll finally be emerging from all that goop and life will start to get easier, like around the 3rd week of April. Opportunities to fix what isn't working will show up for you over the next couple of weeks. And then it'll just start to get easier as we roll into the end of spring and into summer and eventually into Virgo season. But yeah, I would highly recommend for the Virgos, suns, risings, moons, and maybe stelliums, the carnelian, because that could help you emerge from that goop and the sluggishness maybe you've been feeling. So the deer shows up, and I love the deer because it's this gentle, quiet power, knowing that whatever it is you're creating, whatever it is that you are doing, has such a bigger impact than in your own little tiny world. This is reminding you that you do not have to be verbally abusive. You don't have to take it either. But this is just kind of, you know, sitting back and observing, knowing that you are far better than the bullcrap out in that outer world that might be hitting you. And then we have Field of Dreams. The Field of Dreams, this is new beginnings, planting seeds. Maybe you're just so tired of the same old, and it's time for you to innovate and think of, you know, new ways to make wishes, set intentions. The Field of Dreams really speaks about what it is we're thinking about and how we're saying things, because that's how, you know, our wishes show up in the outer world. You know, what eggs are we laying and sitting on and hatching, similar to the seeds that we are planting. This is really just saying, take a gentle approach to everything. Do not beat yourself up. Be a little diplomatic and start setting your intentions so that you can reap the harvest in the fall. Libra, huge full moon for you at 16 degrees, which is really on a world point. And I forgot to mention that all cardinal signs, Aries, Libra, Capricorn, Cancer, are hugely affected by this full moon. It is about bringing peace and balance into your life, into the world. This is 11th house matters. So this is about humanity. It is about your friends, your dreams, your hopes, your wishes, group involvements, collective endeavors. So this is really big. This is big for the world. And it's also about global awareness. So we have the stag, similar to what Virgo just had. It's about that quiet power, not having to be boastful. This is pride, taking leadership, taking a leadership role. So, oh, didn't read your horoscope. The 11th house matters. What I was picking up, you may be on energy overload and you will require a break. You can't enjoy life if you're overwhelmed and burned out. And your well-being is more important than the fear of missing out of something that you really probably don't want to go to. So for Libras, it's a good thing to be discerning. And if you're invited to something or there's something that needs to be done, if your whole being doesn't say, yes, I'm so into that, then it's got to be a no. You got to take a step back. Tell others that it's okay to take a break. Be a leader in that. All right, so the bone collector is showing up. This is really so much about one's self. This is about seeing the signs, paying attention to all the different totems that are around you. But the bone collector also speaks about getting out of living in the past. Something from your past is holding you back, and it's time for you to let it go. And that's so perfect for the Libra full moon. But also talking about ancestral past, familial past. Well, that does make sense, you know, with the moon being right on the cusp. I mean, the sun being right on the cusp of the first house. But it really talks about how you feel about yourself, your self-worth, and your values. Scorpio, 12th house matters. So this is things that are behind the scenes, our solitude, our hermit life, our self-sacrifice, and our self-undoing. It's also our self-transcendence. It's the underworld, the repressed parts of ourselves. So Scorpio, I mean, it's deep, it's rich, but compromise is going to be your key word for this month. As not everyone will see your opinions and the way in which you approach people and situations could cause a lot of friction. So it might be better to stay a little under the veil of things. Be open to listening to others and seeing all sides of the situations that arise. The death card shows up, so it's not a literal death. However, it is about endings and transformation. It's very Plutonic energy, which is your ruling sign. With Pluto just moving into Aquarius, everything is shifting for you, Scorpios. You know, Pluto in Aquarius is squaring whatever you have in Scorpio. This is a 20-year opportunity for you to get out of your comfort zones and change things and make them different than how you've been living your life up until now. And then we have encouragement. This is about seeking, you know, encouragement from those that really get you, that know you, asking for encouragement from the angelic realms and from your spirit guides. This is self-encouragement. This is also, what I'm hearing is when you focus on encouraging or helping another, it takes your focus off on that self-indulgence, and sometimes helping others really gives us all a sense of purpose, self-purpose. And so, yeah, I'm feeling that that's probably good, is to focus on helping others so that you're getting out of your own head. Sagittarius, first house matters. It's all about yourself, your self-image, subjective self-awareness. your self-identity, the masks that you wear. It's the image that you project onto others and the way that you express yourself outwardly. And it says, what I wrote was, being misunderstood is floating around you this month. Think before you speak and allow the time and space for others' reactions about your expressions to emerge. Be open to all the feedback that comes through. Don't take anything personally this month. The owl comes in to say, use your wisdom. You are smarter than this. You are smarter than them. Pulling on ancestral wisdom, asking for your guides, your ancestors, your angels to help you glide through this time period. There is a lot of deception when the owl shows up, just so that you know. Is it you deceiving others or are others deceiving you? And then we have the Wizard of Awareness. And I love that because with wisdom, with observation, you become aware. The Wizard of Awareness just sits back and observes and takes little mental notes to use for in the future or to recognize things when they show up again. Capricorn, second house matters. So it is about finance. It is about self-worth. It is about your values, your resources, your self-esteem, valuables, things that you own, your security. How do you feel safe? And the attitude that you have towards material possessions. So second house matters. It's saying humble pie is on the menu. It's time to close some chapters if you feel you've done all you can. Be open to constructive criticism and be willing to accept a slice of this pie, even if it doesn't taste very good. The swan, there's a transformation happening here. The swan emerges from the shadows, starts out one way. So you'll start out this month one way and you'll emerge at the end of this month in a completely different way. The swan doesn't have many known enemies either. This is about trusting in your own intuition to guide you through this month. And it's about balancing act. Card number 11, another master number. And Libra full moon is all about a balancing act. So what is it that you are juggling? I think for the Capricorns, it's really time to do a great self-evaluation, do an inventory, take stock of what is in your home, your possessions, what can you let go of, because you need to bring some things into balance. Aquarius, third house matters. This is about your mindset, your thinking, your speaking and writing style, learning, interaction with siblings and cousins and close family members. And it's, communication overall. Taking a step back, Aquarius, and reevaluating where to place your focus is really important this month. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, meaning like don't completely chuck projects or ideas that you've been working on. Just put them on the back burner. There's no action required at this time. You really want to just take time to think about, like, what is it that you really want to do, Aquarius? Like, what project do you want to work on? What people do you want to be with and work with? You need to remain open to all brand new solutions coming your way, new projects, and new direction. And it doesn't really require you to do anything other than to look inward and find out what could possibly work for you. The cow. But you're focused on the money. So, could some Aquariuses be looking to retire, but you're worried about your safety, security, and what if you'll have enough, right? It's about nourishment, abundance, asking and receiving. And it's also that reciprocal energy that we have, giving and receiving, but This is more about receiving. Allow yourself to receive this month, Aquarius, versus giving, giving, giving. Slow and steady wins the race. That's what I said. There's no action required for Aquarius this month. This is baby steps. If it looks good, feels good, then yeah, go ahead. But you're taking stock of everything in your life right now, Aquarius, and seeing, you know, what you can let go of if it keeps you feeling safe, secure, and nourished. If it doesn't, let it go, you know. But it's really more about taking mental notes on everything so that you can prepare for Taurus season. Last but not least, we have Pisces. Fourth house matters. It's about home, family, ancestors, your literal home, fixing the nest, sprucing it up. It's your private life. It is your roots. It's your psychological foundation. It's your subconscious patterns, which will play a very big role, because I want to know from the Pisces, why are you so serious? Probably because Saturn moved into your sign, but what things do you say to yourself that are probably not helpful? It's time to reframe the way that you speak to yourself and stop the negative self-talk. Disruption. So, you know, with Saturn being the Lord of karma, in the sign of Pisces, there could be some disruptions, unexpected happenings, emotional for sure. And then you go into that negative self-talk speak. Start blaming yourself, feeling guilty. Oh, it was my fault. You're going to have to reframe everything this month. And the gentle gardener. So the gentle gardener is asking you to be gentle with yourself, with your thoughts, with your emotions, and be as loving to yourself as your angels and your ancestors and your spirit guides will be to you. This is really about self-nurturing yourself throughout the entire month. All right, that's really all I have for you for the month of April. Hopefully I'll come back and I will be able to revisit, you know, that solar eclipse and the new moon coming in the third week of April, put more highlight onto that. What I don't think I did talk about that. Okay. And then the other thing in my companion blog, so don't forget about that, because that's got some juicy information and the slides and the links. But I also talk about the step back that I took from social media platforms. It's a little bit of a rant, in a way. I don't know how I'm feeling, but I just know that when I created this, it was because I wanted to write. I wanted to get my word out. I wanted to share my astrology and my card readings with everybody, but also share my metaphysical knowledge with everyone. And the social media platforms, although they were great for getting, you know, getting me seen, they really kind of don't, because of the wonky algorithms. And just to try and keep up with all of that all the time, and with everything else going on in my life and in the world, and being so empathic and feeling everything, it just became so overwhelming. And I noticed that I was not having fun anymore, and I wasn't creating. I wasn't blogging. I'm not really making videos that often, once or twice a month, which, okay, that's fine. I'm not creating art. I used to read a book a month. I don't have time for that because I'm on my phone trying to find content, make content, post content, respond to content. And I'm trying to find the balance, this full Libra moon, in how can I have, you know, a presence without it just taking over my life. And I just noticed that social media was completely taking over my life. So it was worth it to me to kind of just like step back from that and get back to basics and like actually blog again and create some content. And do real things with real people. Not that you're not all real. I've known so many of you for so long that even though maybe I haven't met you in person, you know, we are close, you know, we are tight. We do have some strong emotional bonds. And I think about you all, you know, every single day. I do. And I don't want to disappoint or let people down, but at the same time, I was neglecting myself. You know, I'm trying to push through grief of losing my dog. Several of my friends recently, which I haven't even really talked about, just so many different changes happening and push through that. And I just felt like all the shit that I see on social media was just making me more angry, more like I really can't describe it. Then at my day job, a lot of the people there and the environment is so toxic and gross, mean, and without getting too much into that. So just having to deal with that on top of, I just couldn't do it all. I will say that I'm getting great sleep. I am finding more happiness emerge. I'm still finding my way. Gosh, it's only been a week-ish. And I am, when I publish my blog, it automatically posts to Facebook. So hopefully you will subscribe to my videos so that you don't miss anything, and my blog at expressionsoftheuniverse.com, because I don't know what I'm doing with Facebook and Instagram right now. I miss it, but I don't miss it. And I'm already not even taking my phone like anywhere with me. Like I'm just not doing it. I don't think it's a forever thing, but I'm just trying to find the balance within myself, take a little bit better care of myself and my surroundings. And really that's about all I can say at this time. I do love and miss a lot of you. So periodically I will post some coffee memes, but like I just wasn't even finding any pleasure, like spending 2 days to try and find the perfect meme for a Monday or a Friday or whatever. It's exhausting. I've got to tell you, it's exhausting. And then responding to like 250 to 700 messages amongst all the platforms and email, and I can't do it. I just can't do it. I appreciate it, but I just physically and mentally can't do it. Thank goodness I have been having therapy with a wonderful psychologist that I got to deal with my grief of losing my dog. And she's there for me every other week. At the perfect time when I really need her. And she's really helping me bring things into balance and see things from a different perspective. So I highly promote taking care of your mental health. And that's part of what I'm doing. And I'm probably, yeah, I got to tell you, I've been losing my mind, and just going to leave it at that. But subscribe to my channel, subscribe to my blog, and I hope to hear from you guys. I love you. Have a great April. I'll be back with more of my stars and cards, weekly wisdom, whatever I want to call it at this point. Take care. Bye.